Yep. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad that we are all gathered here today. My name is Annalee Kruger. I am the owner and operator and president of Care Right Incorporated. Just to give you a real quick background, because some of you are new to this, or new to me anyway. I used to be an executive director and social worker in CCRCs for 22 years. And every single day, I had families in my office. It was usually the adult kids, and they were blindsided by a medical crisis of their parent. So, for example, mom is in the hospital. She had she fell, she broke her hip. She's the caregiver to dad with dementia. Hospital says, here's a list of facilities. Go find one by noon tomorrow because we're discharging your mom. And they're like, well, what about dad? And they're like, well, then if he's not safe at home, he probably needs to be in a care community as well. So the families back then, this is over 30 years ago, families all lived down the same street from each other, or at least in the same zip code, and certainly in the same time zone, and so there was a lot more ability in many ways to work as a team and be like, hey, I can tag team mom and dad so that you can go to work and I'll take them to this appointment. Well, the problem is, though, that when there's that medical crisis, it totally blindsides the whole family. And the tours would take 2 or 3 hours at a time, tour the whole campus, right? Because mom needs one level of care, dad needs a different level of care. And when I would ask the kids, do your parents have a living will, power of attorney, VA, are they using any VA benefits? Do they have long-term care insurance? All of those things. The answers were always, I don't know. Our family never talks about stuff like that. And they also had no idea what questions to ask and what to look for during the tour either. And they had zero idea of how to navigate or understand dementia. They would say things like, well, if dad's dementia progresses, well, that tells me that they don't understand dementia. And so I would spend a lot of time just educating them about what to expect as that disease progresses and all of the things. And so in 2011, I decided to leave corporate America because it's too constraining to be able to do the right thing for families. And so I left corporate America in 2011 to start Care Rights Incorporated, and intentionally went virtual immediately because families just don't live near each other. By then they had been moving away from each other for careers, jobs, marriages, whatever. And so the only way I can facilitate family meetings and what's working well, what's not working well, what are the goals, all this kind of stuff, and help them sort out care options was to go virtual. Back then, we only had Skype. So I've been a virtual family caregiver, senior care, and dementia consult and end of life consultant to families and companies across the globe since 2011. So what I do in my team, I've got 19 employees. What we do is we truly work with families across the country. We are not a placement company. We are consultants. So we help them understand family dynamics. These are things that you guys aren't, you're not social workers, you're not family mediators. So these are not things you should be doing. You should be like, hey, you know what? I can help you with your real estate needs or downsizing or whatever it is that is your zone of genius. But every family needs something that Care Right offers, right? Every family needs help with family meetings. Every family needs help understanding dementia. Every family needs help sorting out their care options based on what's in their best interest, based on what's in their best interest. Does that make sense? So, um, so we do what's called a care matrix, a community care matrix. So like I said, we do not do placement. We are about the relationship. We are about helping them sort out what's in their best interest. And so we help them we do the market research of different care options, whether it's at home and or community care, and we teach them how to do the tours, or they can stay on our care package services, and then that's how we implement the aging plan that we put together with them. So that means, okay, we got to tour these care communities, so we go along with them virtually to tour the care communities so that we know that the admissions people, who bless their heart, they're awesome people, but they also get compensated on being at 100% occupancy, right? And so a lot of times they'll say things that may not necessarily be 100% truthful. And accurate. So example of what this looks like, because you're like, no way, nobody would ever do that. And I'm here to tell you, yes way. This happens all the time. And so for an example, a few weeks ago, it was a local client. I don't usually have a lot of those because all of our clients are all across the world. But I was actually touring a family in Naples for a memory care unit for their dad. And I had already coached and consulted with the clients so that they knew what questions to ask and what to look for. Because they just wanted me to go with them on 3 or 4 memory care tours to basically show them the ropes. And then they felt then they would have the confidence to continue on doing more tours and the repeat tours. Well, so they used my tour checklist guide that only my clients get that. And so they were using that. They're like, okay, this is good. I'm going to ask them what sets them apart. And so they did that. And the admissions person says, well, what sets us apart from all the other memory care facilities or care communities is that we train our staff for dementia care and we pay them for training, which I, of course, like laughed at and scoffed at. And I said, well, and the family, though, and that's why it's so important that we were there, whether in person or virtually, because the family was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Because that was the first tour of the whole day, right? Because we do about 4 a day because they're always in crisis. And so they were like, oh, this is the one. We don't have to go anywhere else, because this is how naive families are. Well, I'm a business owner and an employer, and sometimes families don't understand, because if they're employees too, they're not going to understand that you are required to pay your staff for training. That's a wage and hour law, so you have to. And everybody needs to be trained for dementia care. That's a requirement if you're a dementia care unit. And it's just common sense. If you're going to be taking care of some of the most dependent, vulnerable adults out there, which are dementia and frail elderly people, dang right they ought to be trained properly. But this is how naive these families are. And that's why we do so much advocacy for our families, because it's just it's just required. They need it. And so when we talk about aging planning, it is very comprehensive. It's helping them sort out current and future care options. It's mostly crisis management, because by the time they get sent to us or referred to us, they're in pretty much caregiver burnout and overwhelm, and they really don't know what their care options are. And so they're not proactive. We have to like put a plan in place like very quickly. 92% of my clients come to us in total caregiver overwhelm and burnout. 85% of those families, I'm doing family mediation with them because they're blended families, or they've been at this caregiving duty for a long time and they're overwhelmed and resentful and burned out. And so they're not getting along, or they'll be like, I'm not an only child, but I feel like an only child because my siblings aren't helping me, or I didn't even know John very well because mom married him, 4 years ago. We never really met. And now that mom's got dementia, or dad, John had a stroke, now we're all trying to get to know each other and figure out what we're going to do here. So a lot of what we do is really crisis management and putting solutions in place right away. We also have the digital grab and go, which Julie has pounded into your heads for 5 years now, roughly. So the digital grab and go is, oh, Julie, you're on mute. So the digital grab and go the digital grab and go is, again, because as an employee, these families had no idea what they had in order for estate documents, accounts, policies, any of that stuff. And so I created and trademarked, obviously, and copyrighted the digital grab and go. And it's basically a huge checklist of everything everyone over the age of 18 should have in order. There's also a business succession plan in there because, as most of you are probably business owners as well, God forbid something happens to you. Does your family know your accounts, your passwords, your corporate attorney, all of the people in the business that they would need to know to like sell it or shut it down if something happened to you? We also do special needs planning, in that, a lot of the seniors that we work with across the country, they are now maybe in their 80s or 90s or 100, and they always kept Johnny, who has Down syndrome, they always kept him home with them. Well, now that mom and dad are needing care, they've never lived apart from him. And so then it's like, so now we're doing basically aging planning for all 3 of them. So there's a special needs section also in the digital grab and go. So So in short, every family needs something that we offer. I built Care Right to be the most referable business. Every family needs a neutral third party trained. There's a lot of people out there trying to facilitate family meetings, and their intentions might be good, but they're causing more harm than good, and that's unethical. So they need to be referred to people like us, who this is what we do, and we're trained in this, and 30 years of experience, not just someone who's trying to help a family sort out options. You know, because you're you're going to get yourselves in way over your head with these family dynamics. It is not a cakewalk, I can promise you that. So family meetings, helping understand dementia. I also do corporate dementia training for companies all across the globe. So there's, again, a lot of times people are out there trying to mean well, but they don't understand dementia, or they took a 6-hour dementia certification class and now they think they know everything about dementia. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I have to sometimes undo what other professionals thought that they knew, and then that just puts a scar kind of on certain industries when people don't stay in their professional boundaried zones. Um, and everybody needs help understanding death and dying. I just had 3 families of that this morning whose loved ones are what we call transitioning, and helping families understand what to look for and how to understand when the body is starting to shut down, the skin changes, the breathing changes, all of those things. So it's really Care Right's that full gamut of white glove approach consultancy. That said, we also have, to scale Care Right, we also have um, do it yourself aging guide for families that don't want to pay for the white glove consulting. But that's a small avatar, because most people wait until they're in crisis mode and they don't have time to try to read this whole document and then put their own aging plan in place. I also have a mid-tier level where if they don't want to be a total do-it-yourselfer, but they don't want to do the white glove approach consulting either, there's a middle tier where I take these families through as a cohort through our learning management system on Kajabi, where we break down what is all in an aging plan, and that way then they have office hours with me, and that way then as a group I'm working with, many families at the same time versus always one-on-one. My goal, and what I also like about that model is, because if you've ever purchased or seen my book, The Lonely Bench, nearly every family caregiver feels like they're in this journey alone, and they're not. There's over 60 million family caregivers, and that's just those who identify as a caregiver, and that's just in the United States. So the cool thing about that middle tier of do-it-yourself aging plan as a group cohort is that they have a sense of community with each other, and then they can also then go into our upper tier of our Facebook group, where then they can actually interact with each other on a more personal level as well, instead of just always in the learning management system. We've also got Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate the testimonial in the chat. I also have licensed products that a lot of companies and financial planners will use with their clients, because it's a cheap marketing tool. So they'll either purchase a bunch of my books for their clients, because then that's an easy conversation starter. And so if they buy by bulk, then they get obviously bulk discount rates, or they can purchase different, like the do-it-yourself products, and then that's licensed. So then I have that licensed revenue, and then they can use it as well. And everything is obviously trademarked and copyrighted. I also have a coaching arm of Care Right, where I have a lot of healthcare workers and obviously a lot of real estate professionals too, that are like, my heart is with the senior industry, want to start my own senior coaching or consulting company, but what do I do? How do I make that work? So I have a 90-day Kickstarter coaching program as well, that I have a lot of healthcare professionals who just got burned out working with a really toxic, unhealthy um, healthcare system, but they still want to do what they feel called to do, but just do it on their own instead of in corporate America. And so if that's of interest, that's available as an option too, for those that might want to have their own coaching or consulting company. specifically in senior care. That's my niche, is family caregiving, dementia, and senior care and end of life. So, questions? Yes.
So is it necessary? This is amazing, by the way. So I love this. My first time on one of these calls, and I'm like, you're helping. Is there anything you don't do? Is it necessary for you to know the area, or do you pretty much national? Tell me about that a little bit.
Yeah, so like I said, I started Care Right in 2011 to be intentionally virtual, and that's really for three reasons. Number one, I was sick of corporate America telling me when my office hours would be. Number two, part of the perk of being a business owner is to supposedly be able to set your own hours. But number three, it's also because why would I limit myself to just, at the time I lived in Milwaukee? So why would I just limit myself to like the Milwaukee, Chicago, Madison market when I could go virtual and help families all across the country? Because again, mom and dad might have lived in Milwaukee, but their kids didn't. And so I had to use Skype, or because, well, that's what we had back then. I had to use Skype if I was going to facilitate their family meetings, because you're never going to expect a kid to now be like, "Ugh, I just left Milwaukee and I'm finally getting back home and back on track with work, or my wife is now talking to me again." Like, I don't want to fly back to Milwaukee to meet with you. And I'm like, why would you do that? We use Skype. And they're like, just instant relief. And they're like, oh, I don't have to fly again. And I'm like, no, we work smarter, not harder. And so, and also for the fourth reason is my mom had early onset dementia, and I'm very, very close to my family, and they are my whole point of living. And so I knew I wanted to be actively involved in my own aging parents' aging process and helping them. And that way I could be in Iowa and be wherever I needed to be, and still make money and help other families. That care matrix, we do about 70 to 80 care matrix projects a week for families across the country. They're very robust, but it's everything that families need to be able to make their decisions. And then again, like I said, everything we do is virtual. So we do virtual care advocacy, we do virtual tours, virtual coaching, ongoing family meetings, and ongoing family mediation as well. Sometimes, well, hi, Catherine. You have your hand up.
Yeah, yeah,
Question?
I do. So I put a call into you yesterday because sorry, somebody's beeping in. Okay, I put a call into you yesterday because we have a client that's been coming to our seminars for every year. She's been coming to Downsizers Club for a long time. She worked with someone on our team to do all her due diligence and find out where she wants to move. She's not she's older, but she's not that old, but she's living in a distressed property that causes her a lot of overwhelm, and she wants very much to sell it as is and get the heck out of there. And she chose a beautiful brand new apartment that was designed for 55 plus, and she's going to have friends in there. And it's all interior, it's built, universal design and all that. It's perfect for her. So when she sells her house, she's going to have a couple $100,000 to invest. She has 40 some now, and her financial planners are so awful. They're father and son. And I talked to the son yesterday morning, and he was just awful to me. And he said, well, she's already signed a lease, then that changes everything, because they were totally against her doing this. And then said, we understand that owning the home is no longer viable. So whether it's you or another provider, of course, the home will be sold. I'm like, what do you mean another provider? We've been working with her over a year. We've helped her do all this due diligence. Do you think this is a real estate thing? I said, I'm calling you because she wants help with her son's understanding why she's moving. And anyway, so she wants to sell. She's got a lease, and her kids are giving her a hard time. These financial planners are ganging up against her with the kids, with her sons, and making her feel like she's stupid. Yesterday, I told the planners, we had a good meeting, civil, but very awkward, very intense. And at the end of the meeting, I did say, okay, I said, well, I'm really glad that my daughter and I came here today, and that our client wasn't alone here meeting with you two gentlemen and her son. Her son didn't come yesterday. But if she would have met her son and these two men, they would have all ganged up on her, and they would have been telling her she's stupid, she's old, dumb lady, doesn't know anything about taking care of money. And that's how she's being treated. And so they're pressuring her again today. The financial planner called the son that's most against her moving today. And supposedly he's going to call me. I hope he does. But what do you think about this, Annalee?
So
You got a
one,
grown woman that
yeah.
wants to move into.
So real quick, because I have another meeting in 2 minutes. So I wanted to touch on this. I'm glad you jumped on the call, Catherine. So one of the things that families, because like my job is to help families make informed, educated decisions, because what the decisions they make now can definitely jeopardize their future care options. So 55 pluses are great, but the problem with, unless she's got millions of dollars, and that's a great thing, but the problem is her financial runway is going to be very limited if she has a limited budget, because even in a 55 plus, when the time comes that she needs care, she's going to have to pay for that out of pocket. And she's going to have the same problem that people who are staying at home have, is the reliability and dependability of quality care workers is like very limited. And so, yeah, it might buy her some time per se, but then where is she going to go if staying in the 55 plus doesn't work out? Will she then be able to qualify financially to get into another care community where she can actually get the care she needs? I don't know why that advisor is acting like I almost said something really bad. A jerk. I don't know why he's acting like a jerk, because that's totally uncalled for. But that's something that we can talk about, offline on how to handle that. But that's why it's so helpful that you guys are working also as an advocate for these people. It's just that when you're just, and that's why we do the training and coaching program for folks, to make sure that if you are going to be trying to help families with sorting out care options, that you guys also know the pros and cons and considerations, so that if you're guiding these families, then you're giving them options, so that you weren't part of a process or a part of a decision that now she can't qualify to get into a care community because she's going to use all of her nest egg. So that's why we have all
She
these.
should be fine. Yeah,
Okay,
she'll
good,
be
good,
fine. Yeah,
good.
it's almost an
So,
even trade. Yeah, it's almost an even trade. So she'll be
okay.
able to put her equity into an investment. This should buy her some time and buy her some health. She's not ready for independent living yet, but this just gives her socialization, and it's safer, and it's a lot less stressful. So
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
making a big deal out of it.
And I don't know why, who knows what that's all about, but that's that's completely unprofessional and completely uncalled for. Obviously, my hunch is that and then I got to hop on to this other call real quick, but my hunch is that the advisor probably only doesn't respect elderly people, doesn't respect women, or he only worked with her husband and now he's probably passed away, and now he's like, well, I don't know how to work with these elderly women because they always worked with the husband. So there's a lot of different things that could come into play with that. But either way, she needs a different advisor who is respectful.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
So
You're welcome. So
thank you so much, Annalee. We'll let you go to your next appointment. No problem. We really appreciate you being here. And of course, I have all your information for everybody to access. And it's in
perfect.
this week's bulletin and in next week's bulletin. It's constant, actually, in the bulletin.
And real
So
quick,
thank you again. Go ahead.
and with referrals, because you're not doing aging planning. You guys are not doing aging
No,
planning.
that's not
Your
what we
job
do.
is to like connect them with professionals who this is our expertise. So when you make a referral, pointing them to my website is not going to make them call me. To do a referral, you need to do an email introduction, and provide me with their phone number as well, and say, I have your real estate needs in order, or whatever it is that you're doing with them, downsizing or whatever. But just as important as you need to have an aging plan, and you need help with these different care decisions. That's what Annalee and CareRight do. And then that's how you make that, I'd like to do an email introduction, and that's how that works.
Perfect.
Okay.
Amazing.
Was this helpful?
Yes, very
Catherine,
helpful.
Catherine, you and I need to get on a call to talk through that, because I have some ideas on what to do with that stinker.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Annalee.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
So Skip, maybe you have some idea. Where'd Catherine go? Ah, I think she left.
I think
'Cause-
she was in between things. She was talking this morning about not being able to hop on for real long. So I think
Oh,
she
yeah.
just had another
Okay.
thing.
Well, because what Annalee didn't say is that she has a completely specific training for certified financial planners because of what occurred with Catherine. And she's been doing it for a few years now. So this is, now
Maybe
it's
you can
starting
invite
to
her on
get
again because I want to hear that part of it too.
the what?
I said maybe you can invite her on again to talk about
Oh,
that,
yeah.
the financial
Oh, yeah.
planner part of it,
Well,
because that's
I can
what
kind of
I
help you
think
with
is so
that.
important.
Yeah, Skip is a
Yeah, do
certified
that.
financial planner and
Yeah.
knows Annalee too. So
I'm a CFP, and Annalee has done this for quite a few years, and it's a 13-week course for financial planners, and it's basically what she talked about. You know, just like real estate people, they get, transactions with real estate hammered in their heads, and they think that's all they can do. And of course, we as SRESs know that, we want to deal with non-real estate things that are involving the aging population that makes us different from the regular non-SRES agents. Well, it's the same with the CFPs. They get hammered in their head all the time about investments, about handling money and things that deal with this particular idea, while there's nothing really about well, if it was a medical profession, it'd be the bedside manner that they take with the clients. So when Catherine told me about this the other day, I was really surprised. And actually, she brought it up that all financial planners are like this, and they're all a-holes, and they all do, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there going, well, wait a minute. I'm one of them. Does that make me one of them too? And anyway, we talked about it, and it turns out that she was only talking about this father-son thing, but it's really gotten under her skin, and she's like on a crusade to do something about it. But obviously, these people have no person skills and being able to work with their clients that way. And that's, what Annalee is trying to teach the certified financial planners, is the more rounded way to deal with the aging population and all these other things that are not financial that she needs to educate them on. And she does a really good job with it. The people that have done it really like her course. So, but again, it's just for financial planners, and I believe she has a designation for them when they're done too. So you got to be able to look at the whole picture and what she's doing. You're on mute, Julie.
there was a car horn going off. So, does anybody in your markets, do you regularly cross paths with certified financial planners?
I have several friends that are certified financial planners, and I want to be able to talk to them better. Just to be all in that same group and thinking of our clients in the best way we can to help them live out their lives.
In order to do that, it's like anything else that you do in real estate too. In fact, in the SRES course at the very end in chapter 12, there's a process that you go through for vetting your particular partners, the potential partners that you're going to get. And this applies to certified financial planners too. One thing I have to point out that a lot of people aren't aware of is that certified financial planners are not licensed. They're not regulated, and it's kind of the Wild West for them. The thing that most planners do is they're also broker agents, and they're able to sell securities, which you do need a license for. So Joe Sixpack can, who's a plumber during the day, can hang a shingle out at night, and give financial advice. So somebody can come to him and say, well, I got $10,000. What should I do with it? And he goes, buy Apple stock. Now that'll be $100 for my fee. Thank you very much. And that's perfectly legit. That's fine. Now, if he wants to sell them the 100 shares of Apple stock, then he needs the securities license to do that, and a series 7 or 8, and I'm sorry, 6 or 7, and some of the other things. But there's, believe it or not, there's more licensing required to being a beautician than there is to be a financial planner. Now, there are financial planning organizations such as the Certified Financial Planner, and there are others as well that teach this in a ethical way. And we do have a code of ethics. We have continuing education requirements. It's a profession that supports this, but again, there's not a license. The CFP, like the SRES, is a designation and not a license. So when you interview people for being a financial planner, you might want to find out what their background is, what their training is, how do they support the work that they're doing, and make sure that they have the skills that are available for what the client wants to do.
So Jane just put in the chat that she is a financial planner. Jane, you want to add to this?
Oh, right. I totally agree with Skip. Sorry, I have to walk into the elevator. Yeah, the training and experience, everything, and also the thought of putting the client's benefit in front of you is most important. I currently have one who's in Southern California. I don't really make any it doesn't really make any benefits for me, but I still work really hard to find everything that's kind of suitable for her parents in Southern California. So I'm basically I'm doing the financial planning, and I have a team. I don't focus on doing SIE 6 or 7 because I want to focus more on long-term care insurance and the senior care facility and a real estate part. So I have my team to do when it comes to the stock exchange or everything, we always have a group to have a meeting together.
So you're a CFP too, then, is that correct?
Sorry?
You're a
No,
certified
I'm not a
financial planner too?
CFP, but my team has the specialist CFP. So I don't personally do the security part, and the whole to Guardian.
You're breaking up. We can't hear you. Yeah, you're breaking up.
Okay, sorry, I'm out of the elevator. Yeah, that basically, that was, the whole team do the whole thing.
So what I like is the connection with you being a financial planner with your focus on long-term care and being SRES, which we as SRES, we are DRE first, right? And so that constitutes a fiduciary environment because of our DRE. So by extension, we can count on or use that fiduciary connection.
Well, financial planners also have a fiduciary relationship with their clients too.
Well,
And
how's their fiduciary, if they're not licensed by a state entity, how's their fiduciary responsibility enforced?
well, it's not how do I put this? They're responsible for a code of ethics, and they do have compliance issues that they have to have. But most financial planners also have a securities license with it too, and that overrides it and makes it so that they are required to be fiduciaries. But basically, anybody that handles somebody else's money or property has to have a fiduciary relationship with them to put the client's needs ahead of their own. And there's no licensing involved in that.
I see. That makes sense. Okay, well, here's the conversation though we as SRES have though with CFPs in some cases. Because I've had this myself. And with attorneys, it's the same thing. Okay, so the real estate asset mix, the portfolio of the family, the real estate portfolio of the family in the CFP's care and control, or the estate planning attorney's care and control, is just placed there. So the CFP, and in my opinion, the attorney, it's not their mandate or their mission statement to protect, preserve, or otherwise leverage that real estate portfolio of that family or that senior homeowner. Okay, so that's our job. Preserve, protect, and otherwise leverage their real estate asset. So this is what I've been telling my professional contacts since I started this is because what the feedback I've gotten is that do you have an estate plan? Oh yeah. Their house is in the estate plan. They installed it. It's right. It's there. Okay. Well, are you talking to the family about the value now, the value that it could be? Oh, the family just came to you in a crisis. Do you talk to the family about how to use that real estate asset as leverage in order to provide a solution to the crisis? No. It's just my job to put it in the estate plan or the trust. I don't know anything about all that stuff. Oh, okay. And so, okay, well, so I started telling attorneys or CFPs or anybody who would listen, accountants, it's our job to preserve, protect, and otherwise leverage our client's real estate asset to the best of its availability to be a part of that, for that client, right? So, and real estate is not always, us as SRES, we're a little bit different than the average realtor because it's not always about selling. That's not our first thing with our clients. It's not always about selling. So, and all this stuff that we're learning is exactly why, because it's not always about selling. So am I taking anybody's
Yeah,
boxes?
that's why
Anybody
people
got
think
to
we're
say?
weird.
Yeah.
Because we want to help them stay in their house if they can. So we're the weird ones. Or we offer the reverse mortgage if that's
Aging in place.
thing, connecting them with the people that can help, make their home safer for them.
Yeah. And when you guys go and talk to all these other professionals that provide these professional services, especially because our families are like the family that Catherine was describing, and the senior homeowner is at the mercy of the two CFPs that had been handling her money for how long, and she's just sitting there going, well, you guys have been telling me what to do, and now here I am in a pickle, and now this is how it's being transacted. That's not good.
Well, there's a little more to it from what she told me. They're new to to the client. She just recently gave them her money, but the thing is, I don't think they've done, let's call it, an ethical job of working with her money. She just gave it to them, and she doesn't know what they've invested it in, or what. They didn't ask any questions about her risk tolerance or what her objective is and the schedule to make that objective. And this usually is all involved in an investment policy statement that a financial planner will have to give to the client to let them know what they're going to do with the money, how it's going to be used, what they can expect to get from it, and so forth. And this is part of what the financial planner is required to do. And that's part of the ethical and also the required by law things that they have to do, whether they're licensed or not. So again, it's a fiduciary relationship, and I think maybe they should have done a better job of interviewing these people before they invested, and find out that these are the kind of questions that they should ask a potential financial planner so that they know exactly what they're going to be doing with their money and what to expect.
Now, having said all of that, certified financial planners, and insurance providers are perfect for marketing too for our services. I mean, they need us.
Well, absolutely, they do. There's no question. But for a financial planner, they have to look at the bigger picture. Real estate is only one part of what they do, and of course they need to know about it, because if they're going to advise people how to invest in real estate or in real estate derivatives like REITs and other things, then they have to know a little bit about it. But they also have to know everything else, including insurance, estate planning, on and on and on, and how this little sliver of real estate fits in with the big picture of the financial plan.
Yeah, real estate is just a small part of the pie, except for most families, it's almost 100% of their asset base.
Well, it depends. And again, this is another example of what they know. They should diversify and not put all their eggs in one basket, of course. And that's one of the first rules that financial planners will make, and spreading out the funds that they're going to be receiving on various financial instruments based on their risk tolerance and their objectives and yada, yada, yada.
Hey, Skip.
Yeah.
Maybe I ask you some foundational question, as a CFP, if you can enlighten us, you are one of the exception, that people that understand real estate. The majority of the CFP out there, they don't know much, if anything at all, in terms of training requirement. But when they get the CFP, how much of a training they have in the real estate area? Maybe you can share with us.
Well, I belong to the Financial Planning Association, which is like the association that deals with CFPs, and we have quite a few people that are real estate related. We have mortgage brokers, reverse mortgage brokers. We have people that sell real estate, people that sell REITs, and so forth. And it depends on each individual. I mean, there's no
right. Understand that
that's going to tell them that they're either going to be knowledgeable or not. But I've found that with the people that I work with, because real estate is one of the assets that can be used in a financial plan, they obviously have to learn something about it. And in the training that they give you as a CFP, there is a part in there on real estate. So there is some formal training that they get. Now, whether they specialize in it or not is another story, but they all receive training though.
But the requirement for that part is very limited, right? It's up to each individual. What I come across is the majority of them don't know too much about real estate. You know, they may be very good, maybe even genuine for fiduciary for the client's purpose, but if they don't understand the real estate part, either they need to know it themselves or work with a team of real estate.
Absolutely, that's true. But you know, I think you're making a blanket statement, like, you know, the old days when they were saying, well, reverse mortgages are no good. You know, people, you know, the bank can steal your house and so on and so forth. It's different, you know, from being able to have a balanced portfolio and understanding, you know, exactly how that little sliver fits in with the big picture. So I hear what you're saying, and maybe the experience that you've had with individual planners is such that they don't know real estate, but that's not a blanket statement you can say for all CFPs. It depends.
And maybe that's where it's like us getting to know other CFPs and building those relationships so that
Exactly.
they consider us, you know, just as I don't discuss their things, I will refer to them, you know.
Well, you're exactly right, and you know, the best place to start is before you meet them and be able to vet their you know, their progress and who they are, so that you know what you're dealing with. So that's a big part of what you should be looking at too. Now I'm going to put in the chat what I've taken from the SRES course on vetting, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about here is the things that you should use to learn about not just financial planners, but anybody that you're going to be deciding to work with. So that you need to know as much as you can.
So, Larry, what do you guys interact with certified financial planners out there in Florida? I don't think she can hear me. Okay, so Edie, how about you? Do you work with do you know
Yes.
financial planners in your market?
I'm sorry, you broke up. What did you say about the market?
Do you guys interact with financial planners in your market?
The last two transactions, yes, because the client was well, the client had dementia. I was dealing with her son. So yes, they had a financial planner. This is good information for me, because this financial planner, I think he was unethical, because he seemed to can I say the things he was saying to me, it's like he had so much, or he thought he had so much power that, you know, it's like they couldn't buy or say or do anything without his okay. And I thought, okay, is that what financial planners do? They take over your life, your money. And so, you know, I was a little taken aback. I went ahead, was able to sell the home and so on and so forth. But it was just like, I was like, okay, So I was a little afraid for her because, I've been in that world. My mom had Alzheimer's, so I had to take over her life. I've been in that world, and then had to take care of my dad, and he had dementia. So, when people are really that controlling over seniors, I'm like, something wrong here. But I hadn't taken this course, and I was the real estate agent, so I can only do my real estate. But I was like, since I had taken care of my mom and dad, I go like, yeah, this is not good. But I kept silent to a point where I didn't want to interfere. But yeah, now that I'm getting this knowledge, I feel more confident that dealing with the people, with financial planners.
That's the important part, is just having the knowledge so that if we hear something that doesn't sound quite kosher, we recognize it, and then and then we can make decisions about it. Because we all have those clients, like I have them, that just go by what they're told by whoever it is that's handling their financial accounts. And then my one client, if I pop up and say something, it's like, oh, Julie, they know what they're doing, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And we spend a lot of time fielding that. And it's just good information to know so that we can provide what we do to the best of our ability. We can't change what they're going to do or what the client's going to do. But at least we're aware. So yeah, Larry, how about you guys out there in St. Petersburg?
So, I thought this is an interesting conversation. I think what would be really cool would be for maybe Skip or whoever's qualified, maybe to give us some questions to ask. So whenever, I understand how it feels even for myself, for my financial planner. I'm always kind of going, well, what do I need to do? I kind of defer to him for a lot of things and trust him. So it would be nice as real estate agents for us to say, well, to help coach them and say, remember, he's on your side, he's on your team, but it's your money. So here are some, let me finish, Skip, let me finish. So maybe an idea of the questions, since we're not financial planners, but maybe some ideas of some questions to ask so that we could guide the clients in the right direction to get what they need, and to let the financial planner know that they're moving forward without them, or in spite of them, or just that they're looking for more information like that. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Well, a good place to start is with those questions that or those items I put in the chat, where you're going through and checking their validity, their background, what they have. But you might, obviously you want to ask them, what kind of a background do you have? What kind of training? How long have you been in the business? How many clients do you have? What's your fee structure? Yes.
That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, I don't want to be in a position to act like I think that they should qualify or disqualify their financial planner. That's not where I was going with that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be able to do that. I need to act like we're all on the same team. So how do I get buy-in from the financial planner and us all to work together? What are the questions I could ask or have them ask so that we can move forward, rather than it look like I'm trying to vet them? I don't want to vet them. So what would be good questions to open up conversations of how to move forward?
Ask what their investment philosophy is, what they do, how they handle risk tolerance, and what financial instruments that they would be putting the money into, and what kind of a schedule that they'd be looking at, for the client. And a lot of times you can get that information from the references. So you might
wonder
want
if
to check
there's
that.
something like saying something like, okay, so here's just a question that comes up. So what's our plan for long-term care? What's our plan for insurance? What's our plan for, how, how much money do we have right now with our Social Security? How long are we going to live? How are we set up? And I'm not asking those questions. I'm not going to ask those questions. I want the client to, but I want the client to be empowered with good questions so that they can get where they need to be.
Well, then you need to deal with the client and ask them to ask these particular questions. But the thing is that, the financial planner is there to help the client. And how do they help them is really the thing that you need to find out. And that's with all these other questions that you're going to be asking. You want to ask beyond the real estate, the long-term care, the other insurances, the the structure of the investments that they're going to get. There's well, lots of things that you can deal with for that, but there's no one size fits all questions to ask them. It depends on each individual client and their philosophy and what they want to the goals they want to reach.
Yeah, and it also depends on at what stage they are and what stage we are with the client.
True.
So there's pre-planning, there's the curiosity phase, because we can talk, we're having these interactions with our clients. This client, especially our clients, our SRE, these are 5-year pipeline clients, So we can ask questions at different points, and then these harder questions will come up when there's a life transition that the homeowner, our client, the family has to deal with. And then we can start to get to these harder questions. And like you said, like Larry, we bring them in as a team member. Okay, so what's the mix here? What's the mix? What's their pie mix and their risk tolerance? Because they have 75% equity in their home, and they're facing this life transition. And so I can tell you, I can share with my client, I can share with my client's financial planner all at the same time some of these options to use as the leverage the real estate asset. And we're also educating these CFPs and attorneys as well, that's what we do as SRES, is to preserve, protect, and otherwise leverage the real estate asset. When most of their mindset still is that, oh, you're just the realtor and you just want a listing. So they haven't learned quite yet. So we do get an opportunity to have these conversations, and we can ask questions of them as well if we get an opportunity, just for our own curiosity's sake. We want to learn about, oh, you sell long-term care. Oh, you sell securities. Oh, what's your favorite one? Oh, what's going on with the market right now? Just get them to start talking, because we want to know anyway. So, and we just develop that teamwork of relationship, but we got to ask all those questions too. Right? All right, well, it's 12:36. I think we beat it to a pulp here. Anybody else? Okay, let's do a quick. How's your market? What's going on? Michelle, go.
How's my market? My market inventory still down a little bit, but my market's good. I'm busy, so I'm happy about that. Yeah.
Larry?
So it's
Let's
Laurie.
hear about Florida.
That's okay. La 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 Laurie. We have a tremendous amount of inventory right now. So we doubled our inventory in Pinellas County, which is where I am, in July. So we went from whatever we had in June, we doubled it in July, and it just keeps building. Our condo market is really suffering with the new regulations and the milestone inspections and all of that litigation that went through, and they're still, on a political sense, trying to figure out how to help people. A lot of older folks are being priced out of their homes because they can't afford not only the maintenance fees that are going up, but the assessments to cover the inspections now if you're over 3 stories. So I'm struggling, but it'll come back around. I'm sure it will. And but we're pretty slow. We're pretty slow as far as transactions right now. Too much inventory, people not ready to do things, people kind of waiting. So
Good to know. Good to know. Sherry? How's your market? Edie?
There we go.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Sherry.
You know, I'm kind of just on the edge of doing real estate at this point. I'm full-time doing another job. But I will say in the area, homes are still getting snatched up really quickly.
Good to know. Edie?
Yeah, mine is, it's coming on pretty good. Yeah.
Awesome. Jing and I and Joe and Maggie, and James, we're all in the same market. Jing, what do you think about our market now? She might have gone to the fridge. So Cardwell, how's your market? He went to the fridge too.
Oh, here. Sorry, I was driving.
No.
To the mute and unmuting. I'm driving to the company right now. So the market is at, Bay Area, single family is really hot. They can be sold even before I'll get onto the market. But the townhouse and the condos are slow.
Yeah.
Okay, as far as New Jersey,
Yeah?
high demand, limited inventory.
Say that again.
High demand, limited inventory.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
What's the median price over there where you are?
Well, where I am, it's about 415. 415,000.
Wow.
I didn't mean the time. 415.
Wow.
Well, I just want to share. Last Friday, I went to a local realtor breakfast meeting, and the local market still like crazy, Bay Area. One of the ladies, she wrote an offer competing with 20 other offers, and she lost. And there was a $2 million listing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, we have another agent. As you guys know, real estate, all different now with the buyer broker agreement. Another agent, she had an open house and stranger walk in. She signed the 30-day temporary, what do you call it, that form, the buyer broker. And she was lucky enough that the couple signed it. And Monday, they went out look for they wrote an offer and get it accepted before Friday. So we got good and bad thing going on, but the market is pretty hot, the Bay Area.
Oh, okay. Sounds kind
To
of.
me, it's ridiculous. $2 million median price is ridiculous.
Yeah, that sounds like North Jersey, the suburbs of what would be considered the suburbs of New York. Those are the kind of prices you're seeing up there. I'm in South Jersey. A lot of these people consider this the suburbs of Philadelphia. So that 400 to 500 price range, that's kind of normal for a nice home down here. All right. Yeah, but not enough inventory, rising prices. Love it.
How far are you from New York City?
Well, I'm in South Jersey. I guess with regular traffic, I could be in downtown New York in 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, if you know anything about Jersey. Like I say, I'm in the suburbs of Philadelphia. All of my media comes out of Philadelphia.
Okay.
Cheesesteak country.
Whose country?
Cheesesteak.
Philadelphia? Yes.
Cheesesteak.
Philly cheesesteaks. Yeah.
There you go.
Good
Yes.
stuff.
And Philadelphia Eagles.
Whoever they are.
Food and football. Food and football. What are important things?
There you go. Yeah.
They're kind of like the New York Jets.
Yeah.
It's interesting you bring that up. I have season tickets for the New York Jets.
Yes, he does. That's amazing.
Yeah, I will trust this guy.
Yeah, put your contact information on the chat. Cowell.
Okay, sure.
Oh yeah, nice. Awesome. And Carmen, our raffle winner. Yay. How's it going down there?
I think that as inventory, it's improving. There is still, I mean, many people that are afraid, although we are saying the interest rates are going down. But I mean, but I see some other people that going to open houses and they are kind of ready looking for the right house. So I think it's improving, you know, slowly, but let's hope surely.
Well, I think that the important thing is that it's different everywhere because it's just the way it is. But with our clientele, our niche, our senior homeowners, it's just so important for us to do what we do. So does anybody else have anything they want to share? There's your book. Good job, Joe. Good job, Joe. All right, everybody.
Don't forget, next week and the week after.
Oh,
Topics.
next week we're having our colleague Wesley Chang. He's got a fabulous age tech product that he's going to talk about, and also a co-living, co-housing development project that he's working on. So that's going to be next week. And everything that we talked about today is in the bulletin. Here's how you can get a hold of Annalee. And then the book, Annalee's book, besides her website, which you can get to on the front here, right there. And then her book, you can get to it right here, Annalee's book. There's that QR code goes right to where you can get the book. And it's also on Amazon, just like Joe's book is on Amazon. So, and there's a whole bunch of other good resources in the bulletin. I just have to put it out there. All right. Thanks, you guys.
And
Have a
2 weeks
great
from
week.
now-
Maggie. Hi, Maggie. Hugs. I'll see you guys next week. Have a
care,
great
everyone.
week.
Later.
You too. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Stop recording.